that, but I'll turn it over to Suzanne since Suzanne has brought us
Well,
all together.
yes, I just felt really called to have, reached out to Joe one day and said, hey, I really feel like we need to connect a lot of like-hearted individuals and just have a conversation. And so, we kind of allowed this to organically take place because I think that conversation took place about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then I was talking to Renee, and Renee said, hey, I'm interested. And then I asked Joe, he said, hey, I think Jude would be a great person if, she's open to it. And so it's all worked out so phenomenally. And so I'm just calling this Conversations in Light because I really feel that, when we open our hearts and allow that conversation to come through, we'll all have some really precious gems to share. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I like
so
it.
I was just going to kind of start off with, and whoever wants to go first, by all means, if there's, especially right now, this is a really, we've been in this energy now for a few weeks. So we've had a little time to kind of have a look around and have a feel around and see what, maybe gain some more perspective if we can, because things are changing so fast, on, where you feel you're at, because I really feel that all of us are in slightly different places, but there's a place that we're going to really meet together. And that's part of the juice that I can't wait to watch come to life. So if anybody's open to sharing kind of what they've observed, what they're feeling, I'll let you go ahead and start.
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Can we just go around and just get to know each other just a tad?
Sure.
Like where we're from, maybe how we've met or what have you, and just maybe start to see it unfold. I love to see synchronicities and how the orchestration from source just brings it all together. Because as soon as, Renee came on, I'm like, God, look at you. I mean, and Suzanne and Jude, my heart in terms of what I really want to foster is this idea of unity through diversity. And that there are spaces where we can celebrate, right, and actually appreciate differences, but celebrate commonalities. And just the four of us on this call right here, I'm like, hello, this is my type of, this is awesome. Because for me and my experience, right, showing up, on calls and in tribes where there is an obvious difference, I mean, just from where I come from, right, it's like, I've been blessed with the idea of a melting pot, and then showing up places like y'all are white, and nothing's wrong with that. My best friends are, Caucasian, but I miss, because now I'm in Arizona, and Renee, I'm from Southern California. So growing up in a melting pot like that, it warms my heart because that's the kind of space I want to create. Right? Is appreciating all that flavor. So here we are.
Yeah.
Right. So starting with that. So, and maybe what I'll do, if you all are okay with it, is just as a guide and respecting our time, we all just may take 5 minutes and whatever comes up in terms of who we are and our story, and then not to be, so stringent, but just, saying, okay, we're at 5 or what have you, just so that we can get everything we can in this time. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Sounds great.
Okay, awesome. So whoever wants to get started, I'm getting the timer on. Y'all can get it going.
Hi, everybody. My name is Renee McDade, and I am the mother of 2, the grandmother of 6.
Wow.
And I'm a mother all over again of 2 brand new kitties. They're 4 months old.
Wow.
And in 1 month, I will be 60 years old. I'll be celebrating 60 years on planet Earth.
Wow.
Right.
And just really excited about that. I met Suzanne. We were talking the other day about the fact that our years are beginning to build up. I met her on a mutual friend's Facebook page. I had written something on the page, and Suzanne read it, and she commented, and we began to connect there. Now we connect way more than the mutual friend. And the relationship, she is one of my closest friends, and we've never met face to face, which is talking about synchronicities. Yeah. Just a little bit about me. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I now reside in Athens, Georgia. I've been traveling throughout the United States since '89. Haven't been to the West Coast any further than Nevada, but more so in the South and the East Coast. I work for Amazon. That's what I do daily. The gifts that I have that I've been blessed with is I'm a writer and a communicator. I'm an intuitive messenger and healer. Recently healed myself of 10 years of fibroids.
Wow.
Just very, very excited about that. I feel like I've got a new lease on life. If I had to say what my greatest gift was, I would say that as a communicator, writer. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She is an exceptional poet. I could listen
wow.
to Renee's poetry all day long, and hopefully you'll all be blessed in that same way one day soon too.
That's amazing. Well, excited to meet you, Renee.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It really is.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you, sweetie.
Okay, I'll go. So my name is Jude, and I'm originally from the Washington, D.C. area and now live in Clover, South Carolina, just south of Charlotte. So we might not be too far away, Renee.
Right.
And so I also am really used to a lot of diversity. And when I moved here, it was that and the food, because the food here is not as good as the DC area. Those two things were the hardest adjustments for me personally. I am a massage therapist, so right now I'm not working, but I'm also a Reiki master. And for the last year and a half, I have felt, and I'm an energy reader. And so the last year and a half, I felt like I was supposed to be moving my business online and have slowly been doing that. But it's been a little difficult because I have this other business and I have 4 children. And so I keep pretty busy. And so it's just been as I can. So interestingly, I can't work right now. So I've been working at setting that up more and doing more long distance card reading and long distance Reiki and things like that, trying to build up clientele that are farther away. And so, and I teach. I every job I've ever had, I end up teaching. So I'm a natural teacher. And intuitive. I think probably every single one of us is intuitive. And so like Suzanne, I have been in school for about 30 years, if not longer, and feel like this, how timely is all of this, and that I'm on the precipice and leaping off. I stopped working probably 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I shut my doors and said no more with clients. And there's lots of shifting energies right now. And we're in the midst of chaos energy, which is Kali energy. Joe and I were talking about that yesterday. And out of chaos clears, it cleanses, it gets rid of the old structures and things that are no longer serving us, things that we have outgrown or need to outgrow and do away with, and leave space for us to create. So we can anchor in with hope and really set our intentions and focus with what we are wanting to create, what we're believing we're called to create, and begin setting that out there, in our intentions and with our energy, and really tapping into love and living unconditionally and anchoring in with hope. So I'm kind of excited, and but I don't know why. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yes, you should be
Just
excited.
being in the now. What, Renee?
I said, you should be excited. Yeah. You're a bright light on the planet. You should be excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, okay.
Oh, and I know Joe. Joe can tell how we met.
Yes. Okay. I would do that. Absolutely. So, hi, everybody. I'm Joe Atalig, and I live in Gilbert, Arizona, which is about 25 miles east of Phoenix. Originally from beautiful San Diego, California, which right, everyone knows. I'm going to return there someday, but right now I'm in the desert. And gosh, I would say my recently defined mission in my life is to be a source of harmony, radical acceptance, and unconditional love.
I
And
like
how that
that.
shows up, yeah, and how that shows up in my life has been this unfolding and this allowance of what I call the love wave to come to life. And love wave, as it relates to an event that I had last year, the idea, of course, is if you look at the wave, and I did a study on waves and how an actual ocean wave forms, is that it actually forms through wind. And it is through
Mm.
the energy and the motion of the wind that picks up the water and begins these ripples. And I thought that's just a great metaphor and analogy of love, right? And this tsunami of love. I spent 30 plus years in corporate America, and because of not paying attention to things that happened in my life and identifying the masks that I was wearing to fit in, to be loved and accepted from childhood wounds, I began to see that when anything is abused, that it always comes to the surface. And so as a master of mask wearing and being the person I needed to be loved and accepted, that was wearing out. I served in ministry for a while, and and then everything came to a screeching stop when I started to have issues with my left eye. I had 8 eye surgeries, which resulted in a ruptured optic nerve, which resulted in blindness in my left eye. And then 4 months later, learned that I was on kidney failure, stage 5 chronic kidney disease. I was traveling from coast to coast in my corporate job and was told you have to go on dialysis. And I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that, but it was that or say goodbye to the planet. And so I opted for that and did a modality that allowed me to be connected to a machine 10 hours a day. 3.5 years later, through 10 donors who, for whatever reason, didn't work out, I did have a kidney transplant. Coming out of that transplant, I had a heart attack. And when I returned to work, learned that my job was eliminated from a company that I worked for 27 years. And then the cherry on top, I guess if you can look at this as anything, was ending a 25-year marriage. And so all of those things, as I look upon the idea of how did those things work for me? Well, I wouldn't be on this call if any of those things did not happen. And I'm really starting to receive and to see that that was a conduit for me, that even though I lost my ability to see, I did not lose my vision. So I was on a search for who is my true self, and what in term, it sounds really pretty and it sounds really deep, but what is it? And as I began, and as I began to understand that, that as I gave myself permission to understand that the moment I was born, that going into this world, that's when I began to unlearn who I really was, with the conditioning of culture, societal norms, right, expectations, and all of these conditionings that I began to adapt, and say, this is how I look at life and people. And so now, as I strip those things away, I found out that I was made in the image and the likeness of God, and God is love. Therefore, that's what I am, and that's my true self. And when I don't look out of that lens of love, I potentially am setting myself up to suffer, because love without condition is the mission and the reason that I'm here on this call. So, am I 5 minutes up? I have 18 seconds. So I have just been open to universal slap me every day, right? And allow me, right, to feel, as you can see, I'm a feeler, everything that is meant for me to impart and be the vessel to cement that love is still the answer. Okay, I'm at 5.
Okay.
Can I say something right quick, Suzanne? to Joe?
Yeah.
What I'm hearing, Joe, right now is the universe is saying that you are a pearl, and which is why you've experienced so much pressure. It was all a part of your refinement and how exquisite you were created to be. And the word that the universe is giving you right now is yield to openness. And I hear the universe saying, allow us to crack you open even more.
Wow.
Do not lean into rigidness, or do not close yourself off in any way from the love and the divine connections that is at your door right now. Be open. Wisdom will teach you when to say yes and when to say no, but never, never close your heart. And you have a beautiful heart. And that's what I needed to say, allowed to be said through me to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I received that. Ooh. Thank you. Okay, Suzanne.
Yes. So I'm Suzanne Jacob. I'm here in Mesa. I actually met Joe through a friend. We were part of a group, and she said, you have to meet this guy because he's just as passionate about unconditional love as you are. And how I arrived, my journey goes back a little over 20 some years with the traumatic event that caused my nervous system to collapse or freeze, I guess, now that I look back. It froze. And all the details were so perfect that I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And instinctively, at that time, I knew that Western medicine wasn't going to be the path I was going to follow. I was a very small person, smaller than I am now. At 88 pounds, a prescription sounded like a death sentence to me. And so I dove deep into looking into why my body had become ill, from the physical and the emotional, and eventually ended up at the doorstep of spirituality. In the course of the last 20 years, I've done a lot of sessions with so many different modalities, and I've considered each one a blessing because each one's given me a different perspective on how energy works. I was never into science as a young person, but now I think I really like the concept of being an alchemist, if you will, taking the energy that we are and shifting that. And a lot of times that doesn't happen necessarily on the physical level. We don't have to have one-on-one conversations with people. We can, harness all the energy and power that we have inside of us to shift relationships and to shift the experience that we're having in this moment. And we are such powerful beings. And a lot of that has been me going to the lab, if you will, and playing and practicing with energy, and the just amazing tribe of people that I've, that have blessed my life and that continue to move with me through this journey. I feel at this time right now, I'm actually at the end of the RA's visit, the rheumatoid arthritis visit. And there's another piece that's asking, as well as so much of this journey that, we've all been on for so long, and that's the surrender of the old stories and the old pieces that held a lot of this deep and heavy energy in. And the compass that actually led me here, when I look back at the relationships that perhaps didn't work, or the ones I thought that were the hardest, but were actually my most dynamic teachers, were those that were teaching me how to love myself and how to dig deeper, and being able to see myself and love myself and accept myself the way that God loves and accepts me. And that has become my compass. And every day I ask myself, how can I share this with another and share this with myself? And I've watched, just even in my micro space of where I live, how that not just shifted the energy, but the people in my space, and how fast that helps them accelerate their evolution process, because this space of unconditional love is being offered. And amazing shifts can happen, as I've witnessed. So now I see how we as the collective in this space that we are, especially those of us that have been doing the work, can now take that and hold that collectively so that the others can also feel safe and held and guided in order to open and, into what we've been experiencing. So Living Big Love is my brand, but it's also more than that. It's my most divine tool that I feel guided to use right now in navigating through all waters of what's going on. And I really feel that it's been probably the hero in why I don't feel fear right now. And I don't feel that something awful is going to happen or any of the stuff that the collective is feeling, because, when love is present, there can't be anything else. So I feel really blessed for the journey that's guided me here, and especially for the moment right now that we're all in, because it feels really good.
Right. Yes, it does.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
Well, and I love how you're, explaining it. And I think that each one here, each one of us, like, we're talking about our journeys. And I didn't share, I'm adopted. And so my wound is a wound of relinquishment at birth. And so I have what's visited me. I love that, how Suzanne said that, has been what's called CPTSD. And so I had a complex PTSD that I was born with and didn't know I had until last summer. And once the awareness of it came, then I could see how that's why I pursued healing and spirituality my whole life. That's why I was looking for this healing. I knew something was wrong, and I thought it was linked back to my parents' divorce, but it was really linked back to that original relinquishment. And so love has always been what I pursued and what I tried to give out. And that's how Joe and I met. Yeah. We have very similar stories, but not the original adoption piece, but later in life, we were both in ministry. We both started following Jim Palmer, the writer, and he has been a coach for each of us. We both were like, love is this theme and this thing and that we do and believe in and message. And then we were both divorced, and Jim was like, you two have to meet. And so we did, and we kind of became like BFFs, I guess. I don't know, like brother and sister, like we really just kindred. But Suzanne just said so much that resonated with me about holding space. Like, I guess I feel like the four of us here, we've all gone through these things that we shared. And so we've been through our dismantling and chaos and darkness. And so we can hold space for the collective. We've gone through and faced a lot of the fears. And so we can hold space and know, like, we're like anchors of light. We can say, there is another side, and it's actually going to be better. And you will end up in Thanksgiving for what your journey has been and what you went through, right? Because we're thankful for these things that brought us to this moment and made us who we are today, because we're more whole. We are understanding that we are extensions of source, light, and being, and powerful, where I think before all those things, we didn't understand that about ourselves. And so we are more ourselves, and we can shine more brightly. And so we can hold an anchor of hope for those and say, there's another side. There's more. We're going to expand. And we can create that space for that, because they're going to be deconstructing, right? We've deconstructed so much through all these experiences, and then come out clinging to what's true.
That's beautiful.
So we can hold that healing space, that anchor.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
The one visual that I've been shared repeatedly since this all started is a pendulum. And then to the degree that the pendulum has swung to the fear and the unknown and the chaos and so forth, is the knowing that the pendulum must swing back to the other side. And then the other side is where, you know, the gifts and the blessing and the unveilings of everything we couldn't see from one side will go. How long it takes for the pendulum to swing, you know, that's unknown. But it's just a visual that I've held and I've felt for the last few weeks, and just knowing that it's all part of this ride. You know, like Jude said, as we, you know, fall apart, then we shed and we rebirth, and that's part of the swing back, is going through the middle. I've also referred to this time as the mush, where we're no longer the caterpillar, and we've shed that skin, and we're in that cocoon, and it feels really dark, and we have no idea what's coming. And you know, for some there's not even a thread of light yet. Exactly. For those of us that have gone through this before, we know the light comes, we just don't know when, and we just have to stay in the knowing and find that anchor to source while we're in the dark. And in the mush, actually, for me, is where the magic happens. That's where the growth takes place.
That's
where we're being challenged. We don't have form, we don't have structure. We've just got to, you know, hang on and trust and know and feel and connect at such a deeper level that, you know, as that crystal, so to speak, starts to crack, then, you know, I just knew you were coming. I just knew that light was going to happen. You know, there's that yes, finally, but you don't know. And so to me, that's part of why I wanted to do this call, was to offer that awareness that we've all shared, being in that mush, being in the cocoon. Go ahead.
It's like what Renee said too, that allowance, instead of resisting being in the cocoon, but the allowance of that work. And when you're in the cocoon, it's actually a really nourishing time. It's a building time. You just can't see. It's because it's mushy and dark. But that allowance, that was really good.
Another thing I would like to share is, I hear the source saying that the universe is demanding that we grow in this time. Yeah. And that's a part of what this is all about. It's shaking us out of our comfort zones. The word that comes through my solar plex, the core of me, is the word expansion. And we are all in the process, whether we can see it or sense it or not, we are all in the process of massive expansion. It's a time for higher consciousness. It's a time, I hear them saying it's time now to come online. Whatever your true gifts are, it's time for you to use those gifts. It's also a time of a lot of abundance. I hear the universe saying, whatever it is that you need, you will have. And specifically to light workers, or those that are sent here as angels or angles of light. This is your time to, like you said earlier, Jude, hold the space. We must do that. And we have the ability to do that.
Where are you?
We have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
It's time that we step into the zone of courage and not look at life as things that are happening to me.
Yes.
I see the synchronicities in this group. I was told months ago that I needed to go on the journey of Reiki, and I needed to find a teacher and all of that. And I was like, well, okay, how do I do that? You know, that is supposed to be a part of what I do. So Jude, I'm glad we met. But we're here for a reason. I felt the energy before I logged on, to the point where it took my breath away as far as the connection between us. There's more discovering of what this is all about.
Yes.
Well, and isn't that what it is about, life? Like, it is about exploring and experiencing each moment, and not rejecting the moments that we don't like, because that's really judgment on the moment, right? And just allowing, like you said, and experiencing it and counting it all as joy, and understanding the work of spirit, right? And connecting, and we're expanding, and not
And
just, yeah,
it is a time for us to feel all of our feelings, the ebb and the flow.
yeah.
You know, the ebb and the flow, and just ride that. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to say it to my kids, ride the wave, ride the wave. So yeah, maybe we'll create a wave, right, Joe? Love wave?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is, I'm just feeling really like peaceful right now. Yeah. It's just, isn't it beautiful where, you know, you do envision, not necessarily the specifics of, but you have an idea of what's in your heart. And because of that, when it's manifest in this form, it's just, I just revel in the thumbprint from the universe. It's like, yeah, this is it. You couldn't have orchestrated this alone, right? And, you know, so it's just, that takes my breath away. It's like the care, the like knowing, the desire of my heart, you know, and how it comes out. I'm like, wow, I never could have orchestrated this. So I'm just super grateful, right?
Yes.
Jude, you're so funny. I love
have
it.
a
You're like
question.
raising your hand. Yes.
Well, as Joe was talking, I had an idea, and I won't go, you know, it's just an idea that popped in. But what if the four of us, like, you know, even if it was for a minute and Joe timed it or something, just created and held a space of love, and believe that because we are recording, if we decide to post it out there and people connect with it, that they will experience the energy of love. Because like Suzanne said, we are alchemists, and energy, everything is energy. We are pure energy, and energy is information. And I believe that if we connect with that right now and experience it, not only will we feel it and feel the blessing of love, but we will be able to send out to anyone watching love.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
I love that.
As a demo.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're going to leave a little love gift inside the call.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So, Jude, you want to demonstrate for us?
Okay. Well, I usually.
Is this something you would like me to time, or just let it flow?
I guess we could. Well, I guess I wouldn't want to go. I don't know. Whatever people think.
Let's just let it flow.
Let it flow.
Yeah.
So why don't we just take a few nice, deep, slow inhales, and we can exhale out the mouth. Just to release any tension or anxiousness that we might have being on the call, being human. Why don't we just breathe in a nice white light and imagine it going down our spine and just out our tailbone and anchoring us down into the earth and grounding us. Connecting with calm and peace. And I'm just going to have my hands on my legs facing upwards to receive and connect in divine, just ask for divine love to connect with me. And with each breath, receiving love deeper. Feeling it just showering down over me like warmth. Allowing love, information to permeate every cell. To light any dark spaces. I receive its comfort. And now in silence, just receive and allow love to speak to you. Now we'll let love connect the four of us. We can send love to each other. We can each picture one another and send love. We can all send love to Suzanne. Now we can send love to Renee. Now we can focus and send love to Joe. And if you would all please send love to me, I'd gladly receive it. And I'll send love to myself. Thank you. And now let's just focus our love outward to anyone who might be tuning in. And to all those in the world, we can just send out our love and light. Okay, let's just take a nice deep cleansing breath in. Bring ourselves back slowly, gently. Just connect to ourselves again and kind of open our eyes when we're ready and connect back to this moment here with each other. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for leading that.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Wow.
I would like to speak about the aura colors that I saw around each of you. Joe, I saw yellow and green. And Jude, I saw pink and yellow.
And Suzanne, I saw purple and yellow. Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah. I believe that love is asking, are you willing? Are you willing to say yes? To say yes to healing, to saying yes
Yes.
to the power, to saying yes, not to your outtuition, but the intuition
Yes.
that transcends understanding. Because you know that you know, that you know that you know, without explanation or evidence, but you know. Are you willing? Are you willing to say yes to the classroom that we talk about and the lessons that you've endured, not with a grade, with an affirmation that yes, it was me the entire time? Are you willing to acknowledge that the divine nobody that you met at the store was sent by me to gaze into your spirit and your soul and imparting that love without words, but you felt it? Are you willing to say yes to the call, to put aside those things that once entertained and tickled those desires that you thought were going to fulfill you? And are you willing to allow love to sanctify, purify, and allow the beauty of the intent of the experience that you have to transform that experience into something that is of servitude to your soul and to the soul of others? Are you willing to allow in your belly the thoughts, the feelings, the message, the energy that surpasses and transcends anyone's understanding of pure light? Are you willing to be the vessel? Love is applicable to every situation that we experience in this lifetime. There is nothing that love can address, take care of, or answer. It doesn't matter what the question is. The answer is love. And this deep-rooted tree of life has branches that we experience as kindness and goodness and patience. Are you willing to say yes when that love tugs at you to speak, to listen, to be with, to hold space, to act, to pick up the phone, to text, to speak boldly, to stand for it, not out of energetic rebellion, but an absolute justice, because that is played out loud in public? Are you willing? Are you willing for a time such as this?
Yeah.
Love calls. Love's calling.
Yes. Giving thanks. Giving thanks. And there is a love affair, a love relationship going on in the expansion of this now time. And there is a love affair that we are experiencing more deeply with one another, but there is also a love affair that we are experiencing anew with our source.
Mm.
So it's the length, the height, as well as the width.
Mm.
We're coming back into knowing and remembering the promises of our source.
Mm.
Knowing that we are not alone. Somebody mentioned earlier on in the call about hope. That is a word, a key word right now, because hope will diffuse all the fears, all the uncertainties, all the doubts. Hope will serve as a fuel, and that tower of light in the midst of darkness. And it'll stand as a constant and a continuum during the times when there are so many questions that are not answered, so many things that we don't understand. Mainly because so many of us are uncomfortable with change. And this is a time of change. Remember family. Remember friendships. Those precious moments, the memories that you make, but also remember source. And there is a song that I hear singing in the background. When you all get a chance, I ask that you all pull up the song and play it. I think it'll fill your heart. The name of the song is You Say by Lauren Dingle. You Say by Lauren Dingle. Expansion, love, divine connections, growth. We cannot sleep on this time right now, because if we do, we'll miss it and we will be left behind. This is the time right now where you put your finger on the button and you press it and you say yes. You say yes to whatever is showing up in your life right now, but knowing that the universe has your back and you will be able to do what needs to be done. You say yes. Doors are closing, but new doors are opening. And it's a very exciting time.
Mm.
Don't miss it.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
One thing that impression that I really sense is we know that old constructs, belief systems and such are going to be crumbling. Constructs even, politically and such. And so one thing that needs to transpire, has probably transpired for each one of us already, I kind of know it, is that we no longer look at divine way out here as separate from us.
Right.
We understand the connection and that we are an extension and a vessel
Yeah.
for divine.
Yes.
And so it's not something we have to accept. It's something we need to awaken to and see and be willing to see that that's who we are. We're much powerful than we understand, more powerful than we understand. We are vessels of the divine. We are extensions of source.
Yes.
And that is who we are in our essence, in our true nature, underneath all the constructs and beliefs and this body. This body is temporary. It is not who we are. And so really, this is a time where we are coming into who we are.
Mm.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Two words that I've been hearing for a couple of weeks is God talk. And the image I've been shown is vacation, like a calendar. Source has given us vacation time, if you will. And in that vacation time, we get to choose how we utilize it. We can look to the left and see what we don't have anymore. We can look to the right with the unknown that's there, or we can just be right here, right now, and close our eyes and have God talk.
Yes.
And in that space of that God talk is the connection, especially for me, speaking on my behalf, even though those connections took place, they're taking place more frequently and more deeply. And Jude, in relation to what you said, yes, it's about acknowledging that the source energy doesn't exist outside of us. It exists inside of us. And by having that conversation daily, we're activating that connection deeper and deeper. So all those fears and the unknowns, suddenly you're just flooding yourself with that source by activating it, by having the conversations, by sitting outside and sitting in the sun and allowing the wind to fill you. And even if it's 2 or 3 times a day for 5 or 10 minutes, that God talk time is worth gold right now. And that time has been given to us. That's the blessing.
It is a
part of this is finding the blessings in the cocoon, in the mush, in the silence. And even if we don't know, like I said, what we're doing or what we're becoming, because we're not quite the butterfly yet, we know about our tools, we have our awarenesses, right?
Yeah.
But the final way that we're going to show up hasn't been shown. However, the door does knock once in a while, and when we do say yes, it exposes another aspect of who we are. Maybe it's the piece that's been dormant for a long time, but it's a piece that's ready to rise right now. And through that God talk and the acknowledgement and the saying yes, right, we're able to step forward into that. And that just feels so amazing.
It
because
does.
it really squashes more of those unknowns, right? And it just takes us one step closer into form, into what's coming. And that, it just, for me, it fills my cup every day. And between that and these connections, it's the only food that I really feel, takes care of the hunger that sometimes all of this has created on the human level, right? That's just really connecting inside of who we are and the tools that are there for us. Connecting to source, daily, hourly, whatever that feels right for you. And so as you're all speaking, I see how this conversation is all kind of tied together with the yes and anyway, it's just so beautiful. Thank you all for sharing.
Thank you.
One last message that's coming through now that I'm supposed to share, and I'll make it quick. Those of us that have had challenges with the physical body, this vehicle, one of the lessons in that is for us to grow to understand that this body, this vehicle is temporary. And through the pain and the uncomfortableness and the challenges that we face, sometimes it seems like one after the other. And sometimes it seems like we can be doing so great, and then there are times when we just can't get a break when it comes to our physical health. And this message is going for somebody beyond the 4 of us, but also the 4 of us. The universe is saying, as we shift into higher consciousness, we need to get more comfortable in spirit and soul, because the physical is part of the old paradigm.
Yeah.
And the spirit and soul will be with you forever. We're not taking the physical with us. So it's time that we make the shift and we get comfortable with our big old spirit, which is endless, and our soul, which is a vast reservoir of so many more journeys ahead that we are yet to embark upon. The universe, the source is saying, this is where we're going.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Renee. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.